emphasize it. Trust is key in this profession, and you should be able to be ethical as much as possible. It is not sufficient for you to just abide by law and say, oh, we are law abiding. You need to take it a step higher than just being conforming to laws and regulations. You should be ethical, right? Now, the CFA Level 1 exam format is going to come in MCQ form, 180 questions covering all the topic areas. It will be divided into 2 sessions, the morning session, the afternoon session, which is going to be a session of 2 hours and 15 minutes each, all right? So 90 questions for the first session, then you go on a short break, then you come for the second one. Like I said, CFA is not about rote learning. We want you to acquire knowledge that you will be able to apply in real life. So practical skill module exists, right? You are going to learn about a bit of programming and modeling, right? And the requirement is usually for you to, complete it before a certain number of maybe of time before the exam comes out. They are not going to be exam based such as that, but you have to complete them. So it's usually CBT, all right? Your exam will be CBT. It's offered in multiple flexible testing windows in a year. So for level 1, it's going to be 4 times. You have the options of, choosing from 4 different times in a year to write the exam. And it is administered at approved St. Youth Test Centers. Okay, next slide, Shay. For level 2, right, it's going to be a little bit more advanced than what you have done in level 1. Remember, level 1 is just MCQs. It's a little bit different at level 2. You'll be dealing with case studies. Attached to the case studies will be multiple questions, which you have to answer based on the information provided to you in that case study. 22 item set vignettes with 4 accompanying multiple choice questions. So even though it is still MCQs, but it is based on a scenario painted, based on the case provided, and you should be able to follow from the information provided in the case to be able to answer the question. So it's a little bit more advanced. Within fast 24 minutes, each session is going to last about 2 hours, 12 minutes. You have the optional break in between the sessions, also delivered via CBT. There's also a requirement to complete some practical skill module before the exam, usually before the result comes out. Offered in multiple testing windows each year, and emphasis on application, analysis, and evaluation. That means the cognitive level being tested at that point goes above just knowledge level. We want you to be able to apply the knowledge you've acquired, do analysis, analyze information provided to you and be able to reach meaningful conclusion. And you should be able to do some valuation. At this point, we are looking more at application because some of these things involve not just our sciences, there is art form to it, meaning that how do you see things, how you see things, the output of things, the way you're able to interpret information will determine whether what your conclusion is going to be. So 3 times in a year, May, August, and November. Remember, level 1, you have the option of writing it in 4 windows. For your level 2, it's going to be 3 options. You can write in May, you can write in August, you can write in November. Next slide, please. Okay. So for the level 3, this is going to be the highest level, all right? This is the point where, if you are able to scale through, then you have gotten to the point where you can now, go ahead and apply for your CFA charter. And that is the point where you can only have that acronym attached to your name. Level 1, knowledge base, a little bit advanced. Level 2, higher than level 1. Then level 3, this is the highest level where you have to show yourself. 11 sets items, 11 essay sets also. Both question type, combined vignette and accompany multiple choice questions. It's also going to be for 4 hours, 24 minutes, 2 session optional break. It is also going to be CBT. For all the levels, you have the practical skill module, which is an essential part of them required, offered in multiple testing windows. You would also have to choose a pathway. Do you want to go the pathway of portfolio management, private wealth, private, markets. This one, you can write it twice a year. By the time you get to this level, you've already imbibed certain things, and you will know that, okay, you've acquired all the necessary knowledge and practical skill for you to be able to call yourself a CFA charter holder, should you be able to go through this. So far, do you have anything you want to just?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been stressed. It's just a practical skills model, and I think this slide puts everything together. Yeah, so nothing to add at this point.
Thank you. So the practical skill module, like I mentioned, this is not going to be exam, but you have a requirement to complete them within a particular window. For level 1, the focus is going to be on financial modeling, Python programming fundamentals. And at level 2, you still continue with a bit of programming, because we've gotten to a stage in the world where programming is now very essential. Routine things, you just have to program 1 or 2 things and just go ahead with it. So Python, data science, and AI is still required in level 2, analysis skills, level 2. Portfolio development and construction for level 3, then, pathway specific requirement for the practical module. You are going to choose one. So the requirement is usually that complete them before results are released. There won't be any score attached to it. It's not an exam or such, right? You just have a requirement to complete them, roughly 10 to 20 hours required for you to be able to get through it. And they are not tested like normal exam. You can start them anytime after registering for your exam, right? Just complete them before the due date. And the same module cannot be reused for higher levels. So that means you do something else. So that is about practical skill. Like I said, the focus at this point is to ensure that you don't just go through rote learning, because I'll tell you, if you, for those of us that already have the degree or about completing degree, you're already familiar with the way many people do things around here in Nigeria. We just cram it and pour it. You don't want to do that with the CFA. It actually doesn't even work, right? They want you to go through the curriculum, assimilate the curriculum, right? Internalize it, understand it before you come ahead to write this exam, because that is the only way you can acquire skills that will continue to be relevant after you completed the exams. Real practical experience. Okay, next slide, please.
Yeah, hi, Dimeji. So I just wanted to stress that the CFA Institute continues to evaluate the market and what trends are, and what are those things that will make charter holders more relevant in the investment profession. So I can recall, when I did CFA exams, we didn't have practical skills modules. And, just looking at it and what it requires, it's a huge learning opportunity that CFA candidates are able to take advantage of. And as Dimeji has said, it's not an exam. It's pretty much a web-based learning. It's just that it's mandatory that you do it. So if, for example, you do Python programming fundamentals in level 1, then you can't do it again in level 2. So you'd have to find another skill. Then for level 3, you would have noticed that there are 2 options there. Portfolio development and construction is compulsory, because that's really the heart of level 3. Being able to create a portfolio, for example, that suits an institutional investor or an individual investor. And then you will then have to choose one of the 3 pathways, whether it's private markets and the portfolio management and the other ones that we have. So very important skill module there, which is just an additional learning. Okay.
Yeah. So let's talk about the pathway now. Level 1, we already said that is going to be heavily knowledge-based. It is to give you a solid foundation. And this is, the focus is foundation on investment tools and ethics. Yes, a lot of questions for you to answer because we want you to gather enough knowledge as much as possible at that level. A strong foundation at level 1 will actually prepare you very well for level 2. And if you are solid at level 1, you invest enough time, you gather the right knowledge, level 2 should come pretty easy. Yes, application is required at that point, and the focus is going to be more on asset valuation and advanced analysis. When you have the information, what are you able to make with the information available to you? How do you see things? It's really, really going to be important at that stage. And level 3, where you're expected to, choose more of a particular pathway, the focus at that point is going to be on portfolio management and wealth planning. Historically, the pass rate is not that bad, which is what we've presented here. For those trying it for the first time, level 1, we've not even advanced at all. The average pass rate is 40%. Put it into perspective. If 10 people sit for this exam today, likelihood that it's just 4 people that will pass the exam. 6 people will have to rewrite. And the thing we've seen over time is that the 6 people that are rewriting the exam, sometimes it is not that they don't know, right? Most likely those that pass and those that do not, they have, similar level of knowledge and experience. Sometimes it's just the approach. And that is where we come in most times to guide you through, to tell you, okay, it's better to do it this way, do it that way. Remember what I said about ethics. Sometimes you know a lot, even more than those that are going to pass. But because you are not going into the exam with the right mindset and strategy, it is likely to, result in something that is adverse. So for those that advance from level 1 to level 2, around average of 45%. So 45% is not bad. So put it into perspective, 10 people sit for this exam, is still going to be less than 5 that will pass through. At level 3, you can see the rate has improved. And this is what I'm saying, that if you prepare well in level 1, it is really going to help you. But doesn't mean automatically because you've passed level 1 and it is quite easy for you, level 2 and level 3 will do the same thing. So this is actually an exam that is difficult to pass. But from our side, we prefer to see things as glass that is half full, right? We focus on the 40%, 45%, 51. Our objective is that whoever is going through us is also a part of these people that will, these few people that will, scale through to the next stage. Next slide, please.
Thanks, Dimejian. Just wanted to emphasize something. Even though this slide does shows the arrow as if the pass rate is the final destination, actually, after passing level 3, you will need about 4,000 hours of relevant work experience over a minimum of 36 months to be a CFA charter holder. And usually that experience needs to be related to investment decision-making processes or investment analysis, or even supervising investment activities, or even sometimes teaching subjects that are related to the CFA curriculum. So work experience, in addition to passing the 3 levels, are required to be a charter holder. Thanks.
Okay, I'm sure at this point, some of you already have questions. Please note them down. When we get to that point, you'll be able to ask all the questions and we'll be happy to provide answers to them. So now, the weighting of the exam, so the topic areas, ethics and professional standard, will usually be between 15 to 20% for level 1. So basically, you are going into the exam, 180 questions for you waiting there. When you go into the exam, about 20% of that 180 questions will be from ethics and professional standard. Now look at the weight given to ethics. We cannot overemphasize it, but ethics is very, very important. It might seem simple on the surface, but you have to give it the attention that it requires so that, it goes well with ethics and doesn't jeopardize whatever you are putting as effort on the environmental exam. So for level 1, financial statement analysis is going to be between 11 to 14%, which is also very, very important. There's something I like to say here, for so many people that have accounting background, which a lot of you will have definitely, there is that tendency to want to downplay FSA and say, oh, I am a chartered accountant. Oh, I have both ICANN and ACCA. Oh, I have accounting degree. Please do not fall into that pit. Approach this exam as if you have never been an accountant, right? Expose yourself to the curriculum they've provided you, the body of knowledge they want you to acquire. Pay attention to them to ensure you have no problems. Equity investment is also very significant in the weighting. You can see very similar to that of FSA. Fixed income, also very, very important. Then we have portfolio management, which will be emphasized more as you progress in the program. Alternative investment outside of the traditional alternatives we have. Quantitative methods, corporate issuers, economics, and derivatives, right? They want you to have knowledge across all these topic areas, and you should be able to do well across all these topic areas for it to scale through. Now, it is not an easy thing. So just look at everything you have to cover. Now you understand why people have to spend average of 300 hours. And because we have mentioned 300 hours does not mean that's what you are going to spend. Individuals are different. The knowledge that you have is different from the next person. So you have to know what is suitable for you so that you can dedicate the needed number of hours for you to pass. Some people spend less, and I can tell you, some people spend way more than that because we all don't have the same background. So that's it on the topic areas. Next slide.
Yeah, just to add as well, topic areas and the weights basically reflects the weights basically reflects the likely number of questions you're going to get from each area. So obviously, as Dimeji said, ethics is perhaps the most important in level 1, followed by, the various asset classes, I think equity and fixed income. So usually the expectation is that those higher weight papers will attract more questions, and as such, you should plan to spend more time on them. Doesn't necessarily make the other ones less important, but at least it does show that some may demand more attention than others.
So what do you need for the exam? On the exam day, there is something I love to add that is not on the list, which is your mindset. You have to be prepared, right? Preparation of mind is key. You have to ensure you are in the right frame of mind. It is essential for the exam day. Now, we'll expect you to get to the examination hall very early. You don't want to get there, start rushing, running around, there's actually a limit to the lateness you are expected to have, even if you want to be late. But please, it is better for you not to be late. Be settled 30 minutes to 45 minutes early to the exam venue. The exam appointment confirmation email, ensure you have it. Your approved calculator, BA Plus or HP 12C. Now, people tend to do something, and I'll tell you, it is not advisable for you to do that. And what do? They have an exam, they have an exam. They have bought a calculator they want to use for the exam, which is new. Maybe they've never even tried it. They have it kept somewhere separate just for it to be fresh for the exam day. And they practice with another calculator. Please try not to do that. We will expect that whatever calculator you want to use on the exam day, you practice with it over time before you go. So you don't want to be in that, situation whereby you get to the exam hall and number one, the calculator is not working as expected, or you get totally confused because it is a little bit different from what you have practiced with. So whatever calculator you want to use on that exam day, ensure you practice with it, write your mock exam and everything with it before that particular day. Right? Always go with extra calculator batteries. I'm sure you've been in this situation before, whereby calculator was working fine before you get to the exam, and it appears as if your village people have followed you to the exam, right? Then you start slapping it. So we always advise go to the exam with extra batteries so that you don't find yourself in that type of situation. International passport is required. I will re-emphasize this again. Doesn't mean you are traveling for the exam, but you need a valid international passport as a means of identification for you to sit for this exam. Time management is key. sometimes people know, we've seen it. They know it very well. One of the pitfalls is that some people believe when we say write mock exams, we are joking. It is important for you to write them because it helps you simulate what is going to happen in the real exam. You have the knowledge, you know what you want to do, but if you don't allocate the time appropriately, you are likely to find yourself in a situation whereby you still have something to write, but there is no time to write them. You still have, that knowledge is there, but you have run out of time. So you don't want to be in that situation. So this part is very, very key. Next slide, please.
I was just trying to look for something because I'm sure when you keep saying you don't necessarily need to travel for the exam, people are probably wondering why is he emphasizing the traveling thing? And that's because a couple of years ago, CFA exams was not written in Nigeria. And so people had to travel to Ghana, Dubai, London, or wherever you want to write, South Africa to write it. But yeah, but that decision changed a while back, and we now have the exams written in Nigeria. But then you still need your passport because that's the only acceptable means of identification. Okay.
Thank you for that, Sheyi. I can bet that some of the tutors here they never had the opportunity of writing their exams in Nigeria. We had to travel. So apart from budgeting for the exam, we will budget for travel, flight, hotel, everything. But I think around 2018 they started writing in Nigeria, and which is actually a good one. It helps to reduce the cost. So the right tool for the CFA journey is very, very important. Get this calculator. I've seen calculator mess people up. That's why I keep emphasizing that part. It's a new calculator, but it's not working. So why didn't you just practice with it before coming? Okay, Sheyi, let me hand over to you at this point.
Okay, thank you very much, Dimeji. And as Dimeji has rightly said, please, if you've got questions, feel free to take note of them. You can also raise your hand, actually. So we get to take your questions first. And maybe we can take questions now, Dimeji, before I move on to the next section, which is on our approach. Okonkwo, go ahead, please.
All right.
So if you have questions, just raise your hand and we will acknowledge you. Good morning.
All right. My question is regarding what you said while Mr. Dimeji was presented. You said even after the level 3, and you have to have 4,000 hours of relevant work experience. For me, I'm in the financial industry. I'm a banker, but I am not in investments. I am not in equity. I'm in pure operations. You understand? So I'm like 4,000 hours after I have probably passed the level 3. I'm trying to, can you please explain that for me, please? Thank you.
Okay, I will try. And then if my colleagues have an addition, please feel free. And perhaps something we'll also take during the panel session. You don't have to gain this experience after you finished your exam. So it's something you can gain, before, during, and after. It all adds up, yeah. The second thing is in terms of the relevance of the experience. So sometimes it's not really about what I do currently. It's more about how you can link what you do to an investment decision-making process, okay? Or participating in such, or being involved in analyzing things and stuff like that. So for example, if you work in operations, you will have to do a detailed look at your job specification, what you do basically. So for example, if you evaluate customers in order to decide whether to give them loans, for example, I'm not sure if someone in operation does that, but if you do that, that's something you can somewhat present as a relevant experience. If you participate in budget preparation, for example, in your organization, perhaps something that may be worth presenting as well. But I just want to say that you don't have to work in an investment bank, an asset management company to be able to meet the experience requirement, but you also need to look at, and there may be extreme cases where the experience really does not fit, where you may have to consider a career change, or maybe not even just a career change, or even role change within your organization that could help you harness some of those hours. But yeah, something would also pick up during the panel session. Dimeji, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah. The only thing I'm just going to say is that, again, even if your full-time role doesn't fit, you are allowed to get this experience on a part-time basis. So it's sometimes, if it can be it on the side, and you think you can get that experience that is relevant to that investment decision process, the institute actually allow it at full-time, part-time, or remote basis. Just gather that number of hours over a minimum of 3 or 36 months. So if you're able to do that, good.
Great. All right. Thank you. Gloria, go ahead.
Good morning.
Good
Can
morning.
everyone hear me? Yeah.
Yes, we
My
can.
question, I have two questions, but the first one is related to what person just asked. How do they certify those 4,000 hours? Like, okay, you just present your you present your working place, you just tell them, like, if you the name of where you were working, where you started. Does that count? Is that how it counts?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I'm not very, very conversant with the most recent way, but I remember when I had to do it then, which was maybe like 15 years ago, I had to write out what I do that contributes to investment decision making or analysis or evaluation, etc. And then another charter holder had to certify, or the manager had to certify, and the person does not necessarily need to be working in your organization. But I'm not particularly sure how the process works now. Dimeji, I'm not sure you know it either, but do you?
No.
Okay.
It's been almost 10 years too. We have to confirm it, but just like you said, or you just put it in and somebody else said so.
Gloria, I would say let's park that for the panel session. I would hope that Temi and Fumi can help in that area. And then if not, we can obviously come back to you on that. But I would also say that maybe the exam is probably the first and most important thing right now. But I agree that you can start thinking about the experience so that you are able to apply for the charter holder status immediately after qualifying. Dimeji, do you have your hand up?
Yeah, just a quick one to add. If the question is coming from a point of, can I just fill in anything? How will they verify it? Well, because another charter holder is going to, sign a test to whatever you are filling in, you can't just fill anything you like. Will they verify? Sometimes it might just be, reliance on the part where we talk about the ethical bit. Might not be something they'll verify immediately, but be rest assured, if we just fill in anything there, it will always come back to bite. So we always advise get the necessary experience before you go ahead with it, and ensure whatever you are signing for is correct. Okay, let's go to the next person.
Okay, I have another question. You said something about the mindset. Can you recap on that mindset? The mindset you go to in the exam.
Oh, okay. Preparing your mind for exam is very key, and the reason we emphasize that is that you have to be in the right state of mind. You are going to the examination hall. You are in Lagos. You are driving yourself, and before you get to the exam hall, you park somewhere and start fighting in traffic. Think of it. You don't want to write the exam in that state, all right? You don't want to be worried about anything. You don't want to be thinking about anything else. You have to be in a calm state of mind. You don't want to be, what we are always saying is the only thing that should be on your mind when you want to write the CFA exam is just your exam. Every other thing else, block it out. At that point, when you are done with the exam, you can come back to it. But you should prepare yourself well and just focus on the exam. I hope that helps.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, it does.
Thank you, Gloria. Pius, go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you, sir. So my question is regarding the calculator. I've not seen a calculator before. Where can I get it? Like, I just my question.
Yes, yes. So the calculator is sold locally, and it's something you can also order. I'm sure the manager can help you with specifics on that one. And I think we also have local vendors who sell it. Yeah, but
Okay,
it's
okay.
available. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Fatima, go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So my question is relating to the practical experience because I wrote the exam February 2026 this year. So I kind of did self-study, but failed with a very narrow mark, 10 point. So now I'm discouraged to want to continue because I felt that I work as an accountant. I don't really have the required practical experience anyway. So I don't really need to continue CFA. So I just kind of need the motivation to kind of bring myself back on track and why really need to write the CFA.
I feel like you've been here. You've started that process of motivating yourself. And that's a very good one. See, for most people that start the CFA exam, at least in the part of the world where we come from, they usually do not already have the experience, or maybe have started working in private equity, asset management, investment banking, etc. What I often say is if you aspire to be a finance professional, whether it's in accounting, strategy, or investments, or whatever it is, whatever aspect of finance, the CFA designation always adds to you. It's not just about the knowledge, but it's about how it enhances your ability to think through very complex things and the technical depth and breadth of the syllabus, or the curriculum as it's called. So I don't want people to often just see CFA as, oh, I need a certification, I need a very credible and known and robust certification, but it's also about the knowledge, the experience, and how that is likely to shape your career in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Obviously, when I wrote the exams, for example, I was thinking I would actively switch into investment management, right? But I never did. I've been working in consulting and still in consulting, but all my clients are financial services focused, whether banking, investments, asset management, private equity. And I've worked across these various sectors. And each time I have to deal with things in these sectors, whatever I've learned during my CFA always have a way of showing up, or even if it's not showing up, it has a way of giving me that background that I need to be able to analyze things and be able to understand things. So I think it's bigger than just writing an exam. I think you should look at the big picture. I understand that it is very rigorous and it can be quite demotivating to fail narrowly, but it just shows that you are nearly there, and perhaps give it a try again. You would also hear from others as well. I'm sure Dimeji, Fumi, and Tim Lolua will have stories to tell about their own journey, but it's very rewarding, I can assure you. I was an accountant as well. I'm sure Dimeji was also an ACCA holder, but still decided to go for the CFA exams. Okay. Adewale,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Good morning, everyone.
Good
Thank you
morning.
for this platform. This is probably my first time of attempting CFA or joining any conversation as it relates to CFA. So my question might be a bit funny. So my question is this: just in case I cannot write this diet or maybe next diet next year, the knowledge I will get from these lectures, will it still be relevant, or did it change their syllabus almost every diet?
It will
Thank
still
you.
be relevant. They don't change it every diet, but they change it periodically. In fact, this session is to prepare students for not just November, but also February exams. Because the next session we're going to be starting will be in January, which will be for May and August exams. So you can take the lectures now. Actually, I will tell you something, Adewale, that really ties into your question. We observed that the students that just finished their lectures last month, majority of them don't intend to write in August, they intend to write in November. And the reason is they just want to give themselves enough time to be able to, people have work to do, personal stuff to do, and then also putting these exams together with it. So sometimes it's best to pace it, but also there's a downside to that as well, and that is, I know one of our tutors once said that if you are not ready to write the exam, don't start taking lectures. And the reason why he said that is more of a discipline issue rather than a strategy issue. And when I say discipline, I mean most times when people enroll for lectures, but they already have it that, oh, this is June 2027 or August 2027, for example, they don't often approach those lectures with the level of discipline and attention that it requires. Do you understand? But if you believe that, I'm going to write it in November, I'm going to write it in February 2027, and I need these lectures now, you just need to put your heart to it and give it the investment that it requires in terms of time and attention. And then obviously use the remaining months to do your own personal self-study. Dimeji, I don't know if you have some to add to that.
You're actually spot on. You're spot on.
Okay.
Spot on.
Okay. We'll take these two questions. If there is any additional questions, we are still here because we still have something to present. So I will take BA and then Toluani. BA, go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning, everyone.
Good
Thank you
morning.
so much for getting this platform on. I think I need more clarification on the skill part. I know you mentioned that you mentioned that we need to learn Python or something. So I don't know, do we need to register for that training separately? Is that going to affect our eligibility to write the exam or for us to get the go ahead that we've passed the exam? I want to get how the skill works into the exam part.
Yeah, it doesn't really feature in your exam in terms of the knowledge from it. It may be useful one way or the other, obviously, depending on the practical skills module that you are taking. Obviously, some of them will be useful in terms of exam preparation, but you don't need to complete it to do an exam, to sit an exam. As we said, it's required of every CFA candidate, level 1, level 2, level 3. There are practical skills modules that you have to take. It's web-based learning. You just need to complete it before release of results. So effectively, you may not get your results released to you if you have not completed the practical skills module required for the particular level. Okay, so but you can do it anytime before your exam, after your exam. You have I think 5 to 8 weeks where between when you write your exams and when the results are out. So that's enough time to actually complete it, looking at the amount of hours it require to get it done. I hope that helps, B.
Oh, nice. Sorry. So in terms of getting it done, is it that we have access to that training on CFA portal?
Yes, I believe so. I believe it is something you would already have access to as a registered student.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Yeah. Toluani.
Good morning, and thank you very much.
Good morning.
Okay, so my question is, you mentioned something about choosing a pathway in level 3. So I wanted to find out if the 4,000-hour work experience has to be in that pathway.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. It doesn't determine. So if you choose the pathway of private markets, it doesn't mean you have to work with a VC or private equity or portfolio companies, stuff like that. No. All right. Okay. Let's quickly talk through our approach. Again, if you have other questions, keep your hands raised. Thank God it's a digital hand, so it won't pain you. And then when we get to the end, which is about five minutes or 10 minutes from now, we can take any additional questions that you have. We prepare candidates using the CFA curriculum. CFA curriculum is basically the document that contains the candidate body of knowledge. So the various learning modules, learning outcomes for each learning module, topic areas are all embodied in the CFA curriculum. Now, there are other materials as well. Ideally, candidates should prepare with the CFA curriculum. It also has an end of chapter questions. But there are other materials out there like the Kaplan-Schresser material, which is a bit more summarized and can allow you to get through the topic areas quicker. So you may see tutors come into the class with their PowerPoint slides, which is basically their slides prepared based on the curriculum. Or sometimes you may see a tutor project the curriculum and teach certain things from there, perhaps question practice, for example, or certain things they want to explain directly from the curriculum. Our classes are live online classes. So last session, for example, it was 100% live classes. But we met with tutors. We had conversations around, is it possible to have some classes as hybrid classes? And we thought that's going to be very valuable. And when we say very valuable, we mean the process of coming for tuition, getting through the CFA exams is not just about just coming to class and understanding what the concepts are and passing the exams. It's also about the relationships you build as part of that process, the friends you make, the connections, etc. So we are looking at a situation. It's not finally firmed up. For now, classes will be online live classes every weekend, but there will be days when you will be able to take your classes face-to-face at our premises. And those classes will also be streamed so that if anyone, for example, is not in Lagos and they need to join classes, they can also join the live classes that are happening physically. So that would happen sometimes within the diet, and you will get enough notice ahead of time. All classes will be recorded, so it gives you the benefit of being able to rewatch if you need to listen to it again. I don't want to say if you missed the class, because you should not miss a live class. Trust me, it is very daunting to just sit down and be watching recorded videos. The benefit really is in your ability to join a live class, ask live questions, get live answers, and be able to connect and relate with other candidates as well. Classes are on weekends. Sometimes it depends on whether we are trying to, for example, finish the syllabus and maybe there's a need for it. Sometimes we may have Friday evening classes, but that is extremely rare. But just take note that that may happen if the need arises. Exam-focused question solving. So the thing around question solving with CFA level 1 exam is that it requires a very methodical approach. And what do I mean by that? You've got 180 questions, MCQs, as Dimeji said earlier on, 90 in 2 different sessions. And obviously these questions will cut across the 10 topic areas. But, as we teach, there are some topic areas that will finish before the others. So for example, topic areas like ethics are likely to start early, and they may finish before mid session, for example, during standard lectures. And then another set of questions, another topic area, maybe derivatives, for example, will fill into that slot and things like that. But the point I'm really trying to stress here is it is a dangerous thing to finish a particular topic area and then leave that area and focus on other areas. You want to have a practice approach where you continue to practice the areas that you are done with in class or personal study. And at the same time, you're also practicing questions related to the areas you are currently studying. So they have to go hand in hand. And obviously, you get to a point where you are done with all the topic areas, and then you want to move into revision full force, in which case you can now start taking mock exams. So question practice approach, very, very key. What we try to do is to ensure that the end of chapter questions and then also the question bank that we have, we bring it to class, we solve questions with you so as to reinforce the concepts that you have learned. Ongoing support and accountability. Our tutors are available to provide any ongoing support that you may need as part of the process, and more importantly, our admin team as well. The CFA Level 1 exam costs $1,490, and that's for standard registration. For anyone who wants to do early registration, you get to save about $300 or $350. So the fee there is reduced. Standard entry for November exams will expire August 11, 2026. The early entry has already expired, I think, in April. So you can do a little calculation there to know what the early entry will be for February and other dates that are available next year. Tuition at Ivy League is $400,000. I was nearly going to say $400,000, but it's Naira. It's expert-led weekend lecture. So that fee includes three major things: the tuition, teaching, the concepts, revision, and some resources that we're going to make available to you. You won't get that anywhere else. So it's one thing to have a very good price. It's another thing where it comes with good quality. I think we've done a good job in balancing the two at Ivy League. Our timetable is shown above. And now this is very critical. A closer look at this timetable shows you that it is very engaging, if I can use that word. It practically takes your Saturdays and Sunday. That's just the reality, okay? However, depending on your personal circumstance and personal situation, you will get the full timetable, which will show you what we will cover on each day. So the teaching phase is from today, July 4th, till September 27th. So that's a 3 months cycle or period. And then revision is for 1 month. So during this first 3 months, you will get what we are going to be covering in each of the 7 periods every weekend. I think that's about 13 weekends. You can make a decision on, how you want to ensure you cope with lectures vis-a-vis other things you have to do as well. But I need to stress the fact that it is an investment. Not only are you investing money in terms of the cost, but you're also investing time, you're investing your energy and everything, okay? And one of the benefits you get with tuition, aside the fact that, obviously someone explains the concepts and it's easier for you to get, it's the discipline that comes with it. If you follow through with this, it just means that by September, you are done with the curriculum. You are done with every learning outcome statement and you are ready for revision. Most times people can't say that when they are studying personally or self-studying. Okay, so it's quite rigorous. We're not going to pretend about that. We actually did think about should we move one of the periods to Friday evening, but just get done with what you have to do during the week and then come for lectures weekend and just try to attend all the classes. And if for any reason or the other you miss a class, there will be the recorded version. But as I said earlier on, don't bank on recorded classes because it's not really where you get the best out of the classes. Okay. So that's what the curriculum looks like. You have the digital copy, and if you need a hard copy, you can always request for that from CFA and pay an extra amount for that to be shipped to you. I think at this point, I would like to ask if you guys have any questions. So please, put your hand up and I would acknowledge you at the right time. And then I would also like to call my colleagues, Dimeji, Fumi, and Temi, to come online, come off mute as well. Let me just check. Is Fumi around?
Yes, hi, I'm around.
Hi, Fami. Hi, thank you. And Temilolua. Okay, manager,
Hello.
could you? Okay, Temilolua. Okay, hi. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning, everyone. I'm good.
Yeah, good morning. So the great thing is that Dimeji, Temi, and Fumi are all tutors as well at Ivy League. So what we just want to do now is pretty simple. Ask them a couple of questions. I will be doing the question asking. That's the benefit I get. The three of them will be doing the responding to the questions and providing their own insights in their capacity as experienced charter holders. And then you guys also have an opportunity to ask them questions, okay? So I will keep my questions as short as possible so that we have sufficient time to do this. Okay, so Fumi, do you want to do a very quick introduction of yourself? And then that will be followed by Temilolua, since I and Dimeji have already introduced ourselves.
Okay, yes, I'll do that. Thank you so much. Hi everyone. So my name is Fumlayo. I am also a CFA charter holder, and I'm also an investments professional within the insurance industry. So a bit about my background. I'll say my journey into finance, it's a bit unconventional because I actually studied food science at the university. So I don't have a background in finance or accounting or economics. And I think it was in my final year, I got interested in finance. I started reading a bit on my own. Then, upon graduation, I started doing my research and I was like, okay, I really want to do this. I remember doing a pros and cons that, okay, which certification should I do? What do I like and what do I enjoy? And eventually, I got introduced into the CFA program. And I know anytime I mention the CFA, I know, I mean, people would just be like, oh, that exam, it's so hard. How would you do it? I mean, it was a bit daunting then. But eventually, I enrolled in the CFA program. I also did a tutorial because I couldn't self-study. I didn't even know a lot of things. And I think personally, for me, wanting the CFA program did was it helped me transition into a finance role, and it also equipped me with the skills and knowledge that I actually use on a day-to-day, and it helps me thrive in my current role. So yes, that's just a bit about me. Thank you.
Thank you for me. Tammy, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Apologies, I'll be able to share my screen. I guess
That's
I'm not
fine.
correct in the place. So, my name is, yes, it's nice to be here. And good morning, everyone. My name is Tibola Babatunde. Fortunately, I'm also a charter holder. Uh, I'm a graduate of computer science. So, like Fumi said, I crossed into finance. So, I'm a graduate of computer science, Federal University of Technology. And I woke up one day and I realized that I didn't want to be a tech bro. I wanted to go into finance. And I spoke to people and they said, oh, what exam I have to write, either ECC or CFA. Or no, then they didn't tell me what exam to do. They told me to go and do EduBridge first. So I went to do EduBridge. Then on my course of EduBridge, I met people that write CFA or people that have written ICANN. Then I realized that see who I'm competing against. Some people are chartered accountant, ACC, ECA. I mean, I'm just coming with like my first class, my degree in computer science, and I want to break into a field that I don't know anybody or know anything. So I started to ask questions. Then, fortunately, unfortunately, I went for an interview, and that interview I did very bad because they asked me one of the most simplest questions that can exist. But I couldn't answer it because again, I'm a computer science graduate, and that day I made that decision that I was going to go and chase knowledge, something that was going to give me the knowledge that if you never know, I did commerce science in uni. So unfortunately, I wrote CFA. I wrote CFA level 1 as a copper. I wrote 2023. I wrote level 1. I wrote level 2 last year. No, I wrote level 2 2024. Then I wrote level 3 last year. So I became a chartered that last year. I do investments, banking / private equity, private market. At least I play the private market in Coronation Capital. And I've been doing investment all my life, financial advisory. I've advised over different sectors: oil and gas, petroleum, oil and gas, real estate, real estate, energy, agriculture, name it, different types of transaction. And I'm one of the tutors. During my spare time, I go to the gym and I also teach at Ivy League. And it's a privilege to be here and to speak to you guys.
Thank you, Temi Lulua. The only thing you need to add to that is government. You've not started working government, but I can see that your experience is very diverse. Thanks so much. So I would like to kick off with that very popular question. What was the biggest challenge you faced for me? And if you can go for this, what was the biggest challenge you faced while preparing for your CFA exams? And, how did you manage that?
Wow. Wow. Okay, what challenge? So for me, I think one thing that was very, very challenging, particularly in level 1 and level 2 for me, particularly level 1, like I said, I was starting level 1 without any background in finance. I wasn't working in finance, and a lot of the concepts they were introducing to me were quite new. I mean, I've not analyzed the financial statements before, and I know some. I mean, I took tutorials, and I know in some classes they would be explaining something. They would portray financial statements, and to be honest, I would be lost. I've not heard different concepts. I had maybe secondary school knowledge of economics, but I mean, this was a more or less like an advanced class. So, on my part, it took me time to understand concepts that other people maybe they just mentioned something and everybody in the entire class knows what they're talking about, and I'm a bit
Yeah.
lost. So I'll have to go back, start reading what's the meaning of this, what's the meaning of that. It took me more time to understand certain concepts, and I have to like even do more practice questions to reinforce my knowledge. But I'm thankful for where I am now.
Okay, great. Great. Okay. So, interestingly, I sometimes say that the people that cross from various other fields into finance, they often tend to do very well than, we that studied maybe accounting or finance in university, and one way or the other. Anyway,
Mm.
and to me, when you look back, you just gave an example of how you did your level 1 when you were a youth corper. I presume maybe your level 2 and level 3 you were already working, and maybe there were other things you were focused on as well. What particular habits or preparation habits do you think made a big difference in you passing all 3 levels?
Thank you for that question. I think for me, I will start from the fact that when I was about to write CFA, I understood my strengths and I understood my limitation. I think once the CFA helped me do was CFA helped me discover myself, first of all. It helped me discover how to read. So when I was writing, one thing about CFA is that CFA is like a generous partner. So for me, I did CFA with everything. I think then I used to live out Mowe, and when I say I'm a copper, people used to think that, oh, you're a copper. But then I was working in an asset management firm then already. So, and I was working with VI, and I was living at Mowe with a family. And Mowe to VI, you know how long that journey is. I'm coming every day. What I used to ensure I do was that because of I was driving CFA, I didn't used to use normal bus. I used to use BRT. So when I'm going to work, I bring out my laptop and read. So because there was that safety in the BRT bus compared to yellow bus, right? So I did everything I'm doing, I did to CFA. If I go to the church, between Sunday school and normal service, I will read. After Sunday school and after church, I will still read. So even when I was working, I read. So one of the habits I carried was that, and because I also knew that I was coming from a computer science background, I did not rush to the exam. So for me, I used to write one per day, one per year. So like I used to take at least 6 to 9 months to read. So I read the curriculum again and again and again, and I solved enough questions because I understood that rushing to the exam, I would never feel prepared. I wanted to feel adequately prepared. And having enough time is enough for me to like try different reading styles. So because level 1, level 2, level 3 has a different story. I was in different phase in different time, and my responsibility was different. So what I did was that I could start with the reading strategy. Maybe I wake up every night to read this time around. So okay, for youth when I was in level 1, I was youth corp and I was living in Mowe. When I was in level 2, I was no more in Mowe. So obviously I could not use BRT. I had to rechange the strategy. And when you have enough time, you get to tweak your strategy again and again that now works for you. Then now discover what works. So what I did was that I figured out what worked for me. So like I read everybody's strategy. People say, oh, I read 3 months in the exam. I had to find out that what worked for me. This is what worked for me. Let me stick to it. The other thing was that I read only the curriculum. So like I read the curriculum, so I needed enough time to read the curriculum. So like I didn't say, oh, let me wait 3 months or let me wait my leave to start reading. Like I started reading very early. Then I think another thing I did was that I went for classes. So again, because I knew that I did not I did not do finance, I did computer science in school. Like the first time I had balance sheet was in the CFA class.
Yeah.
The first time I had equity was in the CFA class, was in the curriculum. Like I didn't grow up listening to other things. This I grew up was front end, back end, Java, science, biology. So what I had to do was that because of that, I went for classes. So I went for classes for the 3 levels. Like I went for classes. So the classes help people. Then also you talk to people. So like I made friends. Like I am Fumi. I have a father we work on the same ecosystem. We met when we were writing CFA and we used to talk. So we motivated each other. And so when you meet people, they ginger you, they share materials together, you solve questions together. So you don't, I never felt like I was alone. Do you understand? Which is what
Yeah.
some people used to feel. So that 9 months or 6 months was one of my best. Like last when I was writing it between January to August, that 6 months that people like, oh, the exam, that was one of my best 6 months of that year because I had friends that were writing the exam together and we saw almost every weekend. We talked almost every day. So you never felt like you were alone. And I feel like because of that, you don't get overwhelmed, you don't feel the pressure, and it just feels like you're just
Yeah.
doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Temilolua. You obviously had a very important strategy that worked for you. And I like the point about jealous partner. How did you describe the CFA exam? So I will take a pause and take one of the questions from the audience. Ahmed, do you want to ask your question?
Yeah, good morning, Shay.
Good
Good
morning.
morning, our chartered holders from the unconventional steps. I really appreciate it. It's been a while, Shay, hearing from you. Okay, so I didn't even know my hand was still up. Actually, I joined a bit late, so I don't know if you've addressed this question before. Apologies for everyone if this has been answered in time past. So what I caught you mentioning when I joined was about the benefit as an investment. So I just wanted to ask, from your vast experience, what is a major experience or hands-on to a core financial reporting person? Because you tend to understand that CFA, it's more or less investment, finance, what have you in this kind of industry. But for a financial reporting person that just have a flair for private finance or wants to just maybe write the exam and just be within the prestigious league and the like. So what do you think is an add-on advantage career-wise? Thank you.
Okay, so thanks. I think I can talk from my perspective, and I would also allow Dimeji to also add, and that's because Dimeji has also, been in that field of financial reporting, whether as a consultant or as an auditor or as a practitioner as well. So he probably has some insights in that area. Personally, for me, I think it's something I said earlier. It's the knowledge and the technical depth of the CFA curriculum. It wasn't like I started with the intention of continuing what I was doing, but I just basically continued what I was doing, and I found out that the CFA knowledge was very helpful. So, for example, a part of my career involved advising companies on financial reporting matters, right? And I did that both in Nigeria and in the UK. And in the UK, for example, when I moved to the UK, one of the things I observed was the complexity of financial instruments that we deal with, and the things that I did not see while I was in Nigeria. There's this aspect of accounting we call edge accounting. Throughout my 11 years in Nigeria, I didn't deal with one single edge accounting. But being here, it's almost like bread and butter, all sorts of complexities, edging with derivatives. And I think the knowledge about valuation of derivatives, how it works, the mechanics for the edge item, edging instrument, and all of that, I couldn't have gotten that knowledge anywhere else unless I had to start reading afresh, other than what I learned from CFA. In fact, there was a time I needed to look at the approach for valuing swaps, and I had to go carry my one of the texts to just remind myself of how interest rate swaps were valued. So sometimes you just really don't know when you will need these things. Sometimes you know it because you are directly in that field. And then even though I started with the financial reporting area, my career then moved into transaction advisory and transaction support. And recently that was focused on private equity and investment management sector in the UK. And I dealt with a lot of private equity deals that also required understanding, having insights about that industry and how things work. So whether it's an exit that they are trying to manage, or an acquisition, or cross-border listings and things like that, you really never know where your career will take you. And if you're ambitious as well, you want to learn new things, you want to grow in your career, you probably want to see beyond whatever you are doing now in terms of expanding your horizon. So that's just what I would say from my own personal experience. Dimeji.
Yes, Let me add a little bit from my own experience too. Like she said, some of us are also proper accountants. I think apart from doing tax, what I've done all my life is financial reporting. So at the time I qualified, I completed my CFA exam. I was working with EY. I was an auditor, right? I also work with what we call the IFRS desk, financial reporting group. So it's just IFRS financial reporting. That's what I do. I happened to be involved in the audit of a bank during that period, and it was also at the height of IFRS 9. I'll tell you that the way we approached IFRS 9 was a little bit different than if I had no knowledge of CFA. I'm telling you, the exposure I had with CFA actually opened my mind to some things. I was able to see something different compared to what others are seeing, just like she said. And the height of it for me, for this CFA charter, so at the point, I started running my own firm, let me put it that way. So I have my own accounting firm where I also do tax, audit and so on. So I found myself in a situation where I was competing for a job with the Big Four. And let me give you this specific example. Recently, Fidelity Bank acquired Union Bank UK, right? And it came to a point where they were about to do the purchase price allocation for the UK entity. I actually found myself whereby my firm had to bid for the job alongside other Big Four. I'll tell you the only reason I won that job after I was allowed to present was because I am a CFA charter holder. And I took my time to emphasize that. Look at the team on all the other proposals that have been given to you. Whoever is leading on this side is a CFA charter holder. So I have a good understanding of financial reporting, the IFRS 3 bit and everything. And I am also a CFA charter holder, so I'm able to marry the two. So you will always have the opportunity to, ride on the CFA charter. So you don't have to wait until you want to move into the investment, proper finance, the way we put it. It will always come in handy. That is what I'm going to add to it.
All right. Thank you very much, Dimeji. Toluwani, let's take one more question from the audience. Toluwani, go ahead.
Thank you very much to our panelists. I really appreciate their unconventional routes because mine is also an unconventional route. So I have two questions. I also want to find out from Tutor Fumilayo what your studying pattern was like. Was it also like you did one level per year? And my second question is, because I'm hoping to write in November, but hearing one per year, I'm thinking, okay, what if I register for the November exam? And as classes go on, I realize I don't think I'm going to be ready. Can I change to the next cycle? Thank you.
Wow, okay. So thank you for that question. I wouldn't say my study pattern was one per year. So for me, I think she mentioned it earlier, and that's one thing that is key. I registered for the exam when I was mentally ready. So I think after my level 2, I took about 18 months break before writing level 3. So I take about 4 to 5 months to both study and write my exam. So I know that for those 5 months, I'm dedicating everything to that exam. So I'm taking classes for 3 months, then I'm solving questions all through for the next 6 to 8 weeks. So it's not about it's not about writing one per year. It's about, okay, when you decide to write, how prepared I am, how committed are you going to be? So I study for 4 to 5 months and then I'm done. I ace it. I like to say I ace it in one taking. But yes, so that's my own strategy. Then after doing maybe that level, I think I did level 1 and level 2 back to back. But after level 2, I took a long break before writing level 3. Then your second question, I think I must have missed that.
Okay. My second question was if I register for the November exam and as classes go on, I realize I'm not ready? Is it possible to change to the next cycle?
Yes. So yes, I know there are now deferral options. That's paid deferral options where you pay a certain amount, and the CFA Institute allows you to defer your exams. But in my own opinion, I won't advise it, because I think there's a statistics that shows that people that defer their exams, the pass rate is a bit lower. It happens to everyone. When you're taking your classes all through, you feel like you can't do this, or maybe you take a mock and you don't exactly meet your pass mark, and you're feeling, you know what, maybe I should defer. You struggle, but in my own opinion, I feel like maybe you should just tough it out and just write it, because people that often defer have a lower pass mark than people that write it at the first try.
Yeah, thank you for me.
Yeah.
And I did remember one of the individuals we invited at the last open day we had. He said something that was quite important. He said the CFA, going through the CFA program is not even just about knowledge and, technical competence you get, but also how it shapes your confidence in yourself. Like when you look back and you're like, oh, with all these other things I have, I was able to get through these exams and I passed it. And you know that, oh, I'm actually quite agile. I'm able to go through difficult things and succeed at the end of the day. So I think that's why it's also prestigious, because it doesn't really come so easy. But my advice would be make up your mind on what you want to do. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing November, but you also have to be realistic as time goes on. Okay. All right. Temiloluwa, this question is for you. CFA and your career. How can you say it has impacted your career? And yeah, I'm going to come back to you. Just stay muted. I will call your name when it's time. Yeah. So how would you say it has impacted your career and helped you grow? When you look at studying for the CFA exam, getting through it vis-a-vis what you do?
Okay, that's a nice question. I think for me, I would say CFA is a life-changing exam. CFA changed my whole life, actually. And I'm going to put it into a lot of perspective. Number one, the knowledge. CFA curriculum is one of the richest curriculum you can ever be exposed to. And the curriculum that balances the different aspects of finance and investment. So sometimes there's some exams that they are purely focused on accounting, some exams are purely focused on management, some exams are purely focused on maybe just investment. But what CFA exposes you to is investment, finance, even portfolio management. So it gives you a blended overview of both the macros, the micro, different asset class from equity, fixed income. So first of all, when you're in meetings, you don't ask stupid questions. And also, you are maybe one curriculum or one textbook away from learning about something new. So that knowledge gap, that knowledge depth, you're going to have it. So when I was starting my career, because obviously I started my career, I wrote 7, I was starting my career, even though I'm still starting my career, the difference between what me and my fellow analysts, because what they are still figuring, most of them just know how they do the work because of, oh, this is what the boss says you should do. But most of the time, I also know why I do it this way or why they do it this way. So because of that, you get involved in a lot of interesting transactions. So for the kind of work we do, so obviously they write a lot of proposal, and your company wants you to brag. So in your proposal, they always put you, oh, they say we charter holder. So because of that, interesting transactions that create visibility, you be part of it, which also impacts your character, it also impacts your CV. Then also it affects your social capital. I feel like that's something people don't talk about, and people it's very important because for an analyst, there's always the list that you can actually do. There's always people you can actually talk to. People just see you as, oh, you're just an analyst. But when you write CFA, yeah, you'll be seen differently. Because to be honest, most of your boss, they've attended the exam and they failed. So they understand that, oh, for you to pass, like, oh, you're smart, or there's something you're bringing to the table that they don't have. So because of that, you get to be cool, or to be able to be, you'll be able to be brought to the table to come and eat with them. Because they already understand that there's a value that you are bringing to the table compared to your other analysts. And to be honest, because of there's that validation, because for other analysts, it takes a longer time for them to understand this is the value is bringing, this is what they are doing. Because they have a CFA charter, they understand the value immediately. So it's like, just come, we already understand what you have. You're CFA, oh, come and sit down. So it helps for social capital. Even the people that I've met in this industry that without myself, I don't know how I've met them. There was only a bank, there was a CEO of a bank, one of all these top tier bank, reached out to me on LinkedIn and said, oh, he just wants to have a conversation with me. Just because I have CFA. Not for a job, not for anything. So your social capital, it helps you greatly. And as a result, it helps you get exposed to jobs, information that before it gets to people, you've already heard way earlier, which is very important because information, timing is very important of information. If you get information faster than people, you move faster than most people. But also, it has a career because you don't just only notice, you also have the credential to back it. So people always want to ask for your opinion, even if it is stupid. There's a saying that say that I asked my boss that, oh, if I go to a meeting, that even I'm lying to you, because I said it's order, you first accept my lie. It's when I've left, you will confirm whether I lied or not. But at that moment, you know that, oh, it's Temi, it's correct. So people just trust you at first instinct that, oh, so they don't get to your work, which can be very important for your confidence and for the value you bring to the company. And also, there's promotion also. So you get promoted, your salary increase, and all of those things. So I think, to be honest, say it's a very life-changing thing. But I always tell people that, to be honest, one of the best is to go through CFA. Once you go through CFA, is go for the knowledge first. All other things will follow it. But if you focus more on the knowledge and you close the knowledge gap, is one of the best decisions you will make. So yeah, the rest will come, but to be honest, the focus will actually be on the knowledge. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Temi. So beyond the knowledge, which is like the foundation, you emphasized soft skills, you emphasized your social capital or your network that you build as part of the process, and the trust people have in you. Joseph, go ahead, ask your question as we now begin to wrap up. Joseph, you're on mute if you're speaking.
Yeah. Hello, can I be heard now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so I want to find out. Sorry, I'm not a Nigerian, so just that someone sent me the link. I'm not a Nigerian, so I want to find out how much is what's the pass rate for your for Ivy League, right? CFA, what's the pass rate, and the date? How is it structured? You said weekend, but I want to find out the time. Is it from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. or something? Yeah. And well, it's a lot of questions actually. Then
go ahead.
I want to also find, or we should do it one after the other.
No, go ahead. Ask all the questions.
Okay. Then how is the courses structured? Is it that maybe you take, let's say, quantitative method and you teach that one for maybe 1, 2, or 3 weeks, and then you move to maybe ethics, to alternative investment? Is it like that, or you teach everything combined? Maybe this weekend or Saturday we have this, Sunday we have this or that. Yeah, so these are my questions. I think, yeah.
All right,
questions.
Thanks,
yeah.
Joseph, and thanks for joining us as well. And it's not so difficult to know where you're from as well. But welcome. 9 a.m., 11 a.m. If you look at the slide, it does contain the time already. So it's 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Saturdays and 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sundays. In terms of the pass rate, the last recorded pass rate we had was when if you joined earlier, I did mention that we started in 2021 for CFA, And we took a break after like 2 years. And that's because of the constraints we had with the number of tutors and all of that. So we came back to it again last session. And obviously last session exams, some have not written their exam. In fact, most of the students that took the lectures that started in February, they plan to write November exams rather than August. And if they are even writing in August, it has not been written for us to measure the pass rate. But I don't have the numbers off the top of my head now regarding what it was between 2001 and 2003. But what I can tell you is the feedback we got from our students, where 100% of the students, I mean, every student did say they enjoyed what they got, and they will be very happy to recommend Ivy League to their colleagues and also return. So I think that's like how you measure student satisfaction at the very early stage. And then when results come out, you begin to see what the actual results look like. The third question you asked was related to how we deliver the curriculum, the learning outcomes. So what we do is, so for example, and maybe manager, if that's something you have that you can share, you can pull up your screen. But let me just explain as an example. Period 1, for example, can be ethics. Period 2 can be fixed income. Period 3 can be equity. And period 4 can be portfolio management. Period 5, you know, another one, period 6, another one, period 7, quants or whatever. So that goes on until one topic area finishes and then it gets replaced by another. So there are 10 topic areas. You can already see that there are 7 periods. So typically it will be one of the, 7 of the 10 fitting into this. And then once one is done, the remaining 3 will start replacing gradually till we complete it. So usually we start off with the papers that have the highest exam weighting as shown on this table. Sometimes it does happen that maybe equity is what you're meant to have, and then after equity, fixed income. But the equity and fixed income tutor may agree that they want to do a swap, which may be double periods within that particular weekend. So that may happen depending on where the tutors believe that that's the right way to use. But generally, it is one topic area per period each weekend. And then when one is finished, another replaces it. Joseph, I hope that helps. David, go ahead with your question.
Okay, thank you very much, Shay and the rest of the tutor. So I've been following up all along, and I can tell you so much gained so much exposure from what everybody have said, even from the questions I've been asked. Right. So for a very long time now, I've been following up on, either to write CFA or not. And that decision is still quite unanswered because I'm at the point now, I'm running up with my ACCA, right? But then I'm not even thinking, why not have I started with even CFA in the first place? Because right now I'm so much interested. I want to chase and pursue with passion, right? So now I'm at the final stage of completing my ACCA, and yet I'm still thinking of CFA. I don't know what advice you have for somebody like me.
The advice is very simple. Finish up ACCA, then start CFA, okay? I wouldn't say you should drop ACCA and just switch unless you have as much bandwidth and capacity to combine the two as you progress. But I would just say if you have your final ACCA papers, prioritize that, get out of the way, put it in your pocket, and then move on to the next thing. I don't know whether my colleagues have a different view on this. Dimeji, what do you think?
The only thing I want to add is that when you are done with the CFA, and if you are thinking, do you really need CFA? Sorry, when you are done with ACCA and you are thinking of writing CFA, if you are thinking, oh, do I really need the CFA or not need the CFA? I don't really need it. Let me not write. For you to even consider it in the first place, I think is a sign for you to go ahead to write it, especially when you have the time and the resources now. Don't wait until you need it before you want to write it. At that time, it might be too late, and you might not even have the time. So once you are done with the SCCA, if you have the time and the resources, do the CFA, even if you don't need it immediately.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you. Final question for my panelists, and that is basically just asking you, Fumi and Temi, if you were to go back now and start level 1 afresh, which obviously is never gonna happen. But basically, I'm I'm talking about people who are starting afresh. What's that? I know you guys have been advising and saying all very valuable stuff throughout this session, but what's that thing that you think people need to consider as they want to start the journey now, in your view? Fumi, do you want to go first?
Yes, I think I'll go first. I think for me, the first thing is know why you're writing the CFA. Be sure of your motivation, because there are times that, especially level 3 and level 2, there are times that I would wake up in the middle of the night and find myself asking, why did I start the CFA? Why did I put myself in so much trouble? I would maybe read a particular concept I don't understand, or I keep failing my mock. And honest to God, I mean, I finished the CFA program last year, but I can still remember leaving the library at some point and just sitting down in my car and just rethinking what made me start this exam. So you should have your motivations right. You should always remember why you're doing this, because there are times you will want to give up. But I mean, once you remember why you're doing this, you keep on pushing. I think the second thing is something Temi also echoed. I know there are a lot of study materials out there, but for me, the CFA curriculum is key. I read the curriculum all through level 1, level 2, level 3. I didn't just read it. I actually ordered the hard copy. I have all my hard copies at home. And for me, it just really helped. It's how will I put it? I just focused strictly on the curriculum. I didn't start reading plenty things. I just focused strictly, and I think it kind of helped me. And I think another thing would be have a personalized study plan. You don't necessarily have to. For me, I drew up a plan in Excel. So I will structure it. Okay, level 1, I have 40, maybe 42 readings. This is how I'm going to approach it. I am going to do 2 readings per week. I am going to do 3 readings per week. And I also had an accountability partner, particularly someone we were doing the exams together. So at least once a week, we'll meet up, we'll talk and be like, okay, this is what I've done so far, and this is what I've achieved. Okay, I didn't meet up with my reading plans, but this is how I plan to make up for it. So I think the curriculum, having a good study plan, and most importantly, remembering why you're writing the CFA at all times. I think that's what I would advise for now.
Thank you so much,
Temi.
Fumi. Yeah, great points there. Temi, do you want to add to that?
What more can I say? For me, I said it, my senior colleague. But the 2 things I will add is, number 1, know that it is a marathon, not a sprint. Because if you do it like a sprint, you will gas out easily. Because CFA is not really, I tell you that CFA is not an hard exam. It's a stressful one, I agree. But it's not hard. There's nothing there that people don't wake up every day to do. In Wall Street, in Canary Wharf, even in Lagos Island here, or Marina. Like, there are things that people do without the exam. It's in pure English. Understand that CFA is a test for hard work, consistency. They just want you to put in the work. if you put the work, you'll be hardly rewarded. So because of that, you have to be very strategic and see it as a marathon. It's 3 levels. If 100 people start CFA level 1, about less than 10% finish level 3 and become charter holders. That's to tell you about how intense it is. So it's not just about one level, it's about finishing the 3 levels. Another thing that I'll add, echo, is that I read the curriculum. So I tell you that there are multiple strategies you're going to read online. There's never a right or wrong strategy to pass this exam. But just understand that. Don't lie to yourself. Choose the strategy that works for you. I had a friend that he did not read curriculum. He only used Mark Meldrum questions. And we are both charter holders today. I'm not saying he's not going to say he's a better charter holder than me. I'm not going to say I'm a better charter holder than him. But it worked for him. But I know that if I've used Mark Meldrum alone, I would have failed. So you need to understand what works for you and stick to it and be sure. Then also, that understanding why you're writing CFA is very important, because in the middle of the night, you're going to be the only one to ask yourself that question, and you're going to answer that question. Where you have to say that, God, I'm going to chartered accountant. Oh, I have ACCO. I'm a fellow of account. I'm a FCA, FCC. Do I really need this CFA? So that why is what will keep you going. Then also, the final thing I'm just going to say is that it is possible. I know everybody has heard about how CFA is technical, it is hard, it's very impossible. First of all, don't listen to the noise. It is very possible. If I can do it, you can do it. So once you start with that mindset that you can do it, I promise you can do it. There's nothing special about all the charter holders. We all have the same brain. And you can do it, we can do it. And I'll be here to celebrate and wish everybody success in your journey.
Great. Thank you so much, Temi and Fumi. Can we just appreciate them? Thank you for your contributions and the various advice that you are giving. I'm sure we would, a lot of people found this very helpful. So I will just do a very crash question and answer session with the remaining people that have their hands raised, so that we can close the session now. Sheon, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Shay, and thank you everyone on the call. So immediately I saw the advert that is Ivy League, I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to do this journey with Ivy League. I've been planning to do CFA when I was in Nigeria, but I was looking at the cost. But now I think I have the resources, but also the time is crazy. So, but I just want to ask the question. We are talking about 300 average reading hours. But if you are planning to write, because I paid around, I paid and I deferred. I was supposed to write May, just because I was not confident enough. Now I have option of writing either November or February. But in February there will be audit, so I'm sure that I'll be very busy then. But looking at to write this November, with the average 3 hours reading time, I'm just asking myself that, is it possible? So I want to, I just want a candidate from our newly, I want to know if that is possible. That's my number one question. And the number two is not really for this call. Sheyi, the IFRS 18 that you hosted, I'm thinking I'm going to get the slide for that, but maybe I'll still see you after the call for that. But if you can help me,
can take that offline.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So
Okay,
that's my
thank
question.
Yeah. All right. So it's 300 hours enough. I just want to take multiple questions so that we can take them together. Tomiwa, go ahead.
Hi, Sheyi. Hi,
Hello.
everybody. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. I just want to say that it's a very great opportunity for me. I'm looking forward to writing the exam in CFA in February. And I think, Sheyi, I messaged you on LinkedIn. I didn't even know I was going to see you on Ivy League, because I was actually, because where I am too, I don't know anybody writing the exam. So it's like I'm alone, not seeing the idea. So I just bump on LinkedIn. I was just looking through. So I was just meeting all these, Asians, Indian people. And to be honest, they've motivated me. The postings, the result posting of May 2026, the way people were saying they passed the exam, contrary to what I have lost in mind regarding the exam. So when I now saw, a Nigerian, I saw Sheyi, I messaged you that, oh, I see someone that looks like me that's written this exam. So that was, I think you messaged me later. I didn't really have time because I think I was already chatting with some of these Asians. So now my question is, you said based on the timetable that you're going to finish the class by November, towards November, candidates. So for someone like me that wants to write February, I must tell you that I'm really optimistic. I've booked my exam for February 2027 because I want to save for the $350, dollars saving. So now, what is the plan that you have for us so that the revision can span through to February, not just for November? That's my question.
Yeah.
And I think the question I wanted to ask, someone has already answered it. Because I said on LinkedIn, I see people posting, thanks to this for my success and everything. So my question wanted to be like, I did not see any reference to Ivy League. So, and it's something that, if someone like me that is looking to venture into a course like this, I want to go to where people are really making reference to for success. So
Yeah.
maybe I believe we need to share such testimonials, to encourage someone like me. Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Tamara. We will answer that about February exams. Tochi, go ahead.
Hi, Shay.
Hi.
Good morning. I'm a returning student for Ivy League, so I did a CA with Ivy League, and I know that the teachers are really very, very supportive. But I have a question regarding this one. How many diets do you do in a year? Because I intend to write May, so there's probably no need joining the November diet. Do you do 4 trainings a year for the level 1 and 3 for level 2 and like that? So I want to know when you would do the training for the May diet, or if you would do one for the February one. And then
Okay.
2, I wanted to understand the tutor availability for students that are not in Lagos. Because for some students like me, I'm like about 7 hours away. So I wanted to know if I choose to watch the videos later. I know you advised against that, but I might not always wake up in the middle of the night, right? So how easy is it to reach out to the tutors when I need to ask questions? And then 3, I wanted to ask about Ivy League study materials. Do you get to share study materials, or do we pay for that separately? And if you have an available mock bank that we also need to take outside the regular, just in preparation for the
Yeah.
exams. Thank you.
Great questions. Thank you very much, Tochi. So on the 300 hours points, I think we should just answer this. Maybe there's just one more person anyway. So Tobilola, do you want to go ahead? Tobiloba, sorry. Oluwa Tobiloba.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Shay. Thank you
Good
very
afternoon.
much to our so few questions. The first thing is, I think Tomira already asked it about those of us that plan to write in February, because I'm also writing mine in February.
Okay.
Then the second question is, I don't know if it has been spoken about the cost of the level 1 training. How much is it going to cost? Then the third part is, yes, I know one of our panelists mentioned she ordering the hard copy material. So I just want to get a sense of it. Is it always advisable to just read hard copy as opposed to taking system when you're in a BLT bus, something like that? So I just want to get a sense of the best approach to just the best way to just approach it. Yeah.
I can see Temilolo has given us a strategy with this BRC thing. All right, good. So 300 hours. I'm not sure about my colleagues, but I don't think I used 300 hours to prepare. I probably did more than that. So I would like Fumi, Tebe, and Dimeji to also let me know, was it 300 hours? Was it less than that? Was it more than that? In short sentences. Fumi.
So I don't know. I don't count the hours, to be honest.
Okay.
But for me, I think I look at it in terms of maybe months. So for me, on the average, is 4 to 5 months. So my own strategy has always been writing my exam immediately after classes. So that's why it's 4 to 5 months. I take classes for three months, then 1 month. So for me, I break down the number. I think CF, they still do it. You have a number of readings per level. So I break it down into different weeks and I just follow the class. So they're teaching this particular reading. I'm also reading it that week and taking it off my box. So maybe if I look at it now, I have to do the calculation, but I didn't count the number of hours it took
Okay.
me. Yes,
I
just
think
the
I
time
can be a
frame.
bit more specific because mine is also similar to for me. I level 1 and can't remember now. So level 1, for example, was written twice a year, June and December then. And I basically attempted it immediately after finishing ACCA. So I pretty much had 5 months to prepare for it. And I think I prepared throughout the 5 months. So even if I say I use an average of 3 hours every day, obviously there will be some days that will be more, some days that will be less. Times 5 months times 30 days, that's already giving me like 450 hours. Okay, and I remember May getting into those exams is probably a whole lot more than 3 hours per day, especially as the exams get closer. So for me, if I just use that estimate, I think it was probably above 300 hours. Timmy, what was it like for you?
Me, I use more, Sha. Like,
Okay.
me, I use more. Way more.
Okay.
Because my own reading there was like, I used to read the
Yours was
curriculum.
9
Even can be my
months,
weakness.
right?
Even my weakness. I used to read the curriculum at least 30 times.
Okay.
So I read the curriculum the first time with the class as the class is going on. After the class, I read it again. Then after again, I read it again. So me, I used to read like and I tell people I get this question a lot. And to be honest, this is how I used to answer people. First of all, whether I read for 300 hours, 500 hours, 1,000 hours, first of all, don't lie to yourself. Sometimes you because you read 300 does not mean you're going to pass. Because you read 1,000 does not mean you're going to pass. Are you reading effectively or efficiently? That should be your priority. Because for every module, there's like the learning takeaway that they expect you to take away from that module. Are you taking what they wanted to take away? So you could be reading and you're not reading effectively. So read for 1,000 hours and still fail. That does not mean that you didn't read for 1,000 hours. So I feel like it's very important to not lie to yourself. Then also again, you need to understand yourself. Like I said, me, the way I used to read, I need to see something again and again and again and again for it to work for me. So that so that it can stick better. So I can't do like Ram Lapo. So because of that, I can't do just read once. I have to read the first time, run through it, read the second time. Then as I'm solving questions, if I forget something, I can read it again. So because I know myself. But there are some friends that they are very smart. They don't have to read the curriculum 3 times. They don't have to read it once. So them, they might not need the 6 months that I did. So I think it's just important to not lie to yourself. Whether it's 300 hours, to write 500 hours, to be 1,000 hours, it's just important that you do it effectively and efficiently.
Yeah. Thank you, Timmy. Dimeji, what was it like for you?
Oh, yes. Shay, for me, I also studied the curriculum. And Timmy said something about studying effectively. I call it active reading. For most people that feel unprepared before exam, if you check very well, what you do most times is you are reading passively. If you do the curriculum, you've done, one chapter. At the end of the chapter, there are questions there. Many students go there to audit the question. Look at the question, look at the answer, say, oh, yeah, I thought as much. They nod their head and say, yeah, they really understood it, but it doesn't work. You have to study actively. And that is what I did with the curriculum. End of chapter question, I do them, and I don't joke with mocks. Before the exam, I read like 3 different mock exams, and I can tell you, on average, I already know what the exam is going to look like. And for some of us, the major battle is actually not on the pitch, it's off the pitch, right? Reading, finding time to read, for some people will be very, very easy. Being able to understand is very, very easy. You're able to do that easily. But outside reading, what else is happening to you? Sometimes those things are also more important. So you have to pay attention to your life outside exam. So I think that's it.
Great. All right. Thank you very much. Very helpful, hopefully, for the person that asked about that. And then about February and May exams and all of that. So what we are doing for now is anybody who wants to write November and February should be attending the lectures starting today. That's because these lectures is there to prepare students for November exams. And then anyone who wants to, so the lectures will end by October, for example, and anyone who wants to then take an additional 2-3 months to prepare for February exams, then have that extra time. We don't have a separate class for February and for August. The one we did for August 2026, which is those writing next month, was because we were just starting off after taking a break, from CFA lectures. So we started off in February, but if we were to start off next year, we're going to be starting in January for May exams. And students who want to take May and August should attend the January class. So that's really how it works for now until we change anything about that. Okay. Then you also asked about tutor availability. So yes, if you are in a very different time zone, I can imagine it is somewhat difficult to. I remember in 2021 when we started, we had 2 students from Canada. Anytime I call their name to ask a question, you can tell from the voice that this person is struggling to sleep and also struggling to be in class, especially for the early morning classes. So it can be difficult. Tutors and students are on the same group, actually. And, from what I saw last session, I even think the extent to which the tutors were available, with in terms of following up with the students or even answering any questions students have, was even something we were learning from for our ACCA program, because it was really good. I don't think the problem is often tutor availability. The problem is often, do students take advantage of availability of tutor? But I think they will be available. But then obviously availability means they've taught something, you've gone through it, you didn't understand something, you want to follow up. And I'm sure they are very much available to do that. Materials, yes. We will typically provide you with the slides that tutors are using to teach their classes. In terms of additional materials, we provide the Schweser materials, but at the end of the day, CFA is not really that kind of exam where you have to struggle with proliferation of materials. There are different materials out there, but the curriculum is just what you need. It is big enough to cope with explaining things, but at the same time, some things can be very complex. You probably need a tutor to help you get through it. And then it's faster to understand things once someone have explained it to you. And then you have that discipline of following the classes so that you're also making progress. As Temi said, he covered the curriculum first time with the class, and then he covered it second time, after standard lectures have ended. So we'll make that available to you. You really don't need more than that. In terms of question bank, that is where you will need extra resources. So we have a question bank, but the challenge with that question bank is that so let me explain it this way. If you pick fixed income, for example, maybe there are 10 learning modules within fixed income. The question bank just aggregates questions across fixed income without breaking it down into learning module. But as you prepare, as you take lectures, you may need a question bank that helps you to break down questions into each learning modules. And when I say learning modules, I mean like topics within subjects for those so the subjects are the topic areas, the learning modules are like the various chapters or topics within that topic area. So for that, you may then need to consider Kaplan, Shrestha, or various other resources that are out there, which you will need to buy on your own. So what we can advise is what we see that people use that works. But remember again, you have end of chapter questions in the curriculum. But if that's not enough, then you can consider investing in a question bank that helps you break questions down. Some of them even break down the questions by learning outcome statements and not just the learning modules. Okay. But the one we have, which is a bit more aggregated by topic area, we will make that available as well. Costs. So you've got the cost on the slide. I think that answers the question on cost. There's no hidden fee. It's not more than that. Manager, is there a registration fee? I think that's what's probably missing on this slide.
So no, there's no registration fee.
Okay, there's no registration fee. Okay. All right. So there's no other fee other than what you have here for Ivy League. For CFA, depends on when you register for the exams. And then obviously you have to buy a calculator. Do you have an idea how much that calculator is sold for now? I don't really know.
Okay, last time I got it was I think 140.
140,000 naira. Okay, so that's the calculator. Hard copy. Someone asked about hard copy. For me, when you ordered your hard copy for the curriculum, you had to pay extra to get the hard copy, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I had to pay extra, but that's
Okay.
because of my reading style. I don't like
Okay.
reading on my laptop. I need to see a book. I think
Okay.
it's there on the institute's website. I think
Yeah.
$50 or $100.
Yeah, so you see the price there, but again, as she said, it's basically your reading style. Some people like soft copy, some people like hard copy.
You can also
You don't-
print. I know people also print since CFA
Okay.
will give you the PDF, so you can just print it.
Good. So that's also another option. And you can print by chapter as you read as well. Yes. Okay, so I think we are done for today. If you have any other questions or any other thing you would like to clarify, I'm surprised I don't have our. Okay, so yes, these phone numbers are there. You can chat them up on WhatsApp as well. And for example, the second number is held by manager, the first number, another member of our admin team, Lucky, and they'll be very happy to answer your questions. And you can also connect with us on LinkedIn as well and on WhatsApp as well. So once again, thank you very much for joining this session. We really do appreciate you staying up till this time. Classes will begin, I think, from period 3. Manager, is it period 2 or period 3?
So from period 3 to 2 p.m.
2 p.m. Okay. So once again, thank you, Temiloluwa. Thank you very much, Fumilayo. Thank you very much, Dimeji. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
All right, bro.